Hey guys, welcome back to Hypermobile Friendly Workouts. My name is Eva and I am especially excited to take you guys through today's class because we are innovating a little bit. So we are going to do a resistance band based class for the hips, the arms, the core, kind of a whole full body gamut. But you are going to need a light to medium resistance bands today, really kind of your preference. And when you have this long resistance band, you are going to need to tie a circle at one end of it. This is how we're innovating today. So all I did was I took the end of the band and I tied a relatively sizable circle into it, and then I just double knotted it. So do me a favor, take a second to do that now. Lucky for you, we are going to, while you guys are doing that, we're gonna start with a little bit of kind of hip release. If you've got a tennis ball handy, that's gonna be super helpful. Any other type of fascial release ball or like lacrosse ball will work as well. But I wanna start by opening up the tissue at the hips a little bit, and then we are going to do some fun resistance band stuff to reactivate it. So before we dive into the workout, as always, if anything is not feeling good or beneficial to you, please don't do it because it's just not worth it. You can always come back to this class later and there's no point in pushing through the pain. So with that being said, you guys are welcome to lay on your back or join me in seated to do this, but you are gonna take a tennis ball right into the fleshy part of your bum. You're gonna kind of roll your weight off whichever side you wanna start with. And then once you find the fleshy part of your bum, you are going to softly start to put your weight back into that side. And what you're looking for, you guys see the face that I just did? That kind of like, oh Jesus? That's the face you're looking for. That's the type of sensation. We're not looking for like excessive amounts of pain, but we're looking for little tender spots, little trigger points that kind of make us go, whoa. And then once you find those spaces, you're welcome to just stay on it for a moment and see if it alleviates. You're welcome to kind of shift around. Maybe you prefer doing like little circles or going back and forth on it. But the goal here is that it should start to alleviate as time goes on. As you do this, you may find that like going a little bit more to the side or a little bit more center is helpful to you. Oof, a little more to the side is helpful for me. And as always, we want to make sure that we're not getting right into like bone, mostly because it's not going to be very helpful, and second of all, it's just not going to feel very good. So if you're like sitting right on a bone right now, scooch off it. And you may find like, oof, you kind of just need to shift or follow a line. I'm going to do that right now, and I actually think this is a really good life decision before this class we're about to do, because we're going to do a lot of work laying on our side, kind of like working through the hip joint. All right. So whenever you are ready, I'm just going to finish that off, and then you guys are welcome to transition to the other side. I'm going to shoot myself over here and just pop it under, kind of see what we got going on. I did actually a lot of release on my left side yesterday, so I feel like I'm probably not going to have too much going on, but my right side, I definitely needed to catch up a little bit. All right, there's a little something there. And make sure as always that we keep breathing. We always want to breathe. If you need any like supports or anything, sometimes I teach this to people with like a yoga block under their leg just to support it. And that can be really helpful. You're totally welcome to just kind of play. Yeah, this lateral line is sassy. Gonna scooch over here and maybe take another 20 seconds or so. Making sure we breathe. Alrighty. Whenever you guys are ready, you are welcome to come on up. Just wanted to start with like a little bit of work through the hips. Take a second just to see how you're feeling. How do the hips feel now that everything's been nice and released? Oh, I actually feel a little chiller in my low back too. That feels pretty good. So hopefully by this point, you have done what has been asked of the band and just put like a little circle in it. And we are gonna go right into some sidelining work. So with sideline and hypermobility, I encourage you guys to use as many supports as you need to. We are literally gonna be laying flat on our side. If you need a pillow or a yoga block or something to place underneath your rib cage to help you feel more supported, go ahead and grab it. In fact, I have a foam roller with me right here. I think I might try and use this as a pillow today, if it's not too gnarly. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. I'm gonna use this as my pillow today. I feel pretty good in the ribs, so I don't think I need a towel down here, but we are going to take your top foot into the loop. You're gonna hold on to the other end of the band with your hand, and for the moment, we don't really need to do anything with the band. We're actually just gonna start with one of our kind of basic hip strengthening exercises, a clamshell. I'm sure many of us have done a clamshell in our life, but we're gonna do it together now. So as always, creating just a little bit of space under the waistline just to make sure that we're active. Take a breath, making sure that the knees and ankles and hips are all stacked right on top of each other. Making sure you're not rolling forward or backward. And now, keeping your heels connected, can you use the muscles at your hip? Think about your thigh bone going deeper into your hip socket as you lift your top knee up, up, up towards the clamshell. And then lower it back down. And you guys are probably noticing mine's not like super big or anything. It doesn't need to be super big to be effective. And as you cycle through this, once again, I just want you to find that kind of lengthening out of the spine. Checking in that we're not just throwing the hips around to make this look bigger. We really want to make sure that this is coming from that ball and socket joint. The glutes are very active here. If you're feeling this all down your thigh, maybe make it more of like a thought exercise. You could also pop a hand on top of your thigh. Sometimes a little bit of counter pressure can actually help get things active in your bum. Let's go for one more, and then we're gonna add on. All right, once we're here, I want you guys to keep the inner thighs connected, keep the knees connected. Using that same activation in the butt muscle, can you lift your top foot? Now, this one can be tricky because hypermobile people, we just want to go like this, all right? We want to hike the hip up to lift the foot. That's not what I want. I want the hip to stay still, and I want you to, I want you to lift the foot by rotating the thigh bone in the hip socket. This is one of those ones I always get like a slightly deeper breath when I do it. It's really good. Let's go maybe 4 more. Really try to find your butt here, guys. Check in with your low back, making sure it stays soft and neutral. Let's go 2. Let's go 1. Relax down and pause. Beautiful job, guys. Okay, I think it's time we grab the bands now that we've done external and internal rotation. Hold on to the band, and I want you guys to imagine you have a tray of wine glasses on top of your thigh. And you are gonna lift, oh Jesus, hello, sorry, I was not expecting that. You're gonna lift the tray of wine glasses and then lower that tray back down again. And repeat, yeah, as you can tell, it's a little challenging for me today. And lower back down. And lift, and we're gonna add on here in a moment. This is where the class is gonna start getting a little more advanced, so go at your own pace, okay? Let's go 2 more here. We're gonna start adding on in last one. Hold it up there. Can you elongate the leg? Keep the hand grounded, keep the band anchored, and then bend that knee back in with the wine tray. And again, elongate. Now, with hypermobility and weak hips, we want to go like this, okay? You want to drop that knee, or you want to lead with the knee. Really try and keep a nice parallel line. And check in that when you elongate the leg, it ends up in line with your body, not in front of you, not super far behind you. Now, if you feel good for it, the next time you elongate the leg, you can pick up your arm and you can push the arm overhead. Counter pressure here, guys. Now, my band is going to end up just over my knee as I tuck the elbow in, but I'm still keeping a nice parallel. And again, that is hippie. That is very hippie. And exhale. And now it's a little shouldery as well. So we want to make sure we're kind of checking back in periodically. As you glide through this, find that connection from the heel to the leg, to the hip, to the waist, shoulder, arm. Beautiful. Let's go 2 more. My goodness, my hip is going to be really sore, but not painful, which is why I'm still going. So I'm going to try one more build. Hold it, hold it, hold it. Can we lift the leg and arm simultaneously? And then lower. Advanced movement here, guys. Lift and lower. Do me a favor, don't turn your toes out. Keep the foot parallel. Oh my goodness. Let's lift and lower. 2 more. Lift and lower. 1 more. Lift and lower and bend it in. Oh my goodness, relax it down. Beautiful, beautiful job, guys. If you joined me all the way through that series, very nice work. I hope your butt is sufficiently sore in a good way, not in a painful way. I recently went to a PT appointment who really humbled my glutes. Let's switch over to the other side, guys. We did a couple of exercises and he was like, I'm sorry, you need to work on this, ma'am. And I was like, I know. So that is one of the things that inspired this series today, because I recognize that hip work is actually something I kind of tend to avoid, and I need to not do that. I need to be honest with you guys about that. So anywho, let's go ahead and set up on the opposite side, making sure you feel supported and just nice and neutral, making sure we have that little bit of activation through the waist, knees, ankles, hips, everything is stacked. Body is nice and neutral forward. We're not rotating or kind of just collapsing into the ground. Once you've anchored the band, you're going to turn your knee out, getting into that little clamshell type movement with an extra focus on getting your thigh bone connected into the hip socket. With an extra focus on this movement coming from your bum, not just the outer thigh. And if it's just a totally outer thigh movement here, maybe you make it a thought exercise. Maybe you add a little counter pressure from your top hand. And as always, making sure we breathe. Let's go for 3 more. And 2. And 1. Bring it down, keep the inner thighs connected. Little bit of squeeze here as the top foot comes up now. And once again, we want to make sure this movement isn't just a hike up from the pelvis. You're really feeling the thigh bone rotate in the socket. Same thing if you've got hypermobile knees. You guys know how we love to just kind of like do a Charleston and throw our knee out. Let's really make sure this is coming from the thigh bone to the knee, to the shin, to lift the foot. I'm gonna go 4 more. I'm like not, oh, there we go. I was gonna say I'm not quite as connected into this one. 3, little bit of inner thigh squeeze to counter pressure for 2. Making sure we're breathing for the last one. And bring it on down. Okay, making sure we've got a nice grip on the top of the band so that we can anchor. And we're gonna start with just that parallel lift of the leg. You're holding the wine tray as you lift and lower. Hold the wine tray to lift. And as you cycle through this, check in with what your low back is doing. Is it long and soft, or is it tucked and grippy? And check in with how your knees and ankles feel. Maybe, once again, this is more of a thought exercise than a big one. All right, we're gonna go 2 more, and then we're gonna add in that extension. We're gonna start getting into some more advanced series. Hold up your next one, anchor the hand down so that you can push the leg long and bend it back. And oh goodness, a little bit harder for me to keep that level. Push it long, take a quick peek, make sure the leg is ending up in line with the body, not in front of you, not behind you. Push. Get long and lengthy with the body. Push. Goodness me, that's tricky. Let's go 3, and then we're gonna add on that arm piece for 2. Check in with your ankle, making sure that it's not tucking in or throwing out. 1. All right, on the next one, take your hand with you. I gotta switch my band's grip. And then overhead press as you elongate. And then bend, and now the band ends up over the knee. And overhead press, feeling long and lengthy. Oh goodness, this is so much harder to keep steady. And press. And in. And press. And beautiful, keep checking in with the shoulder. Press. And 1 more, and then advanced movement. Elongate and pause. Can you lift? And lower. And lift. And lower, moving from the shoulder socket, moving from the hip socket. Carefully, you're not getting too dipped in at the waist. All right, we're not collapsing to make this bigger. Lift, harder for me to coordinate. Let's go 2. And 1. And bend it in. And ooh, nice job, guys. See, aren't you guys all happy now that I made you that hip release before starting this? Can you imagine how gnarly that would have felt if we hadn't opened up your bum first? Woo! All right, guys, check in and see how you feel. Support your legs as needed. Take a minute to come up. Very, very nice job. So we went through a lot of just kind of like different glute medius, outer hip sequencing. If you liked that workout, please let me know with a like, with a comment, with a subscribe to the channel. Because as always, I love seeing that stuff, and it just really does help the channel grow. Yeah, I think that's where we're calling it today. Sorry, I have like no blood in my brain. It's all in my hips. So with that being said, we are going to call that a day. I will be back with another workout very, very soon. But thank you for joining me, and I will see you guys in the next video.